They were once Hollywood's shining stars, adored, celebrated, and unstoppable. But fame can be a dangerous game. Behind the glitz and glamour, these actors spiraled into scandal, addiction, and crime, trading red carpets for prison bars. Now, after serving their time, they've stepped back into a world that once worshipped them, and then turned its back. Are they rebuilding their lives, or trapped in the shadows of their past? Today, we expose 12 actors recently released from jail, and reveal where they are now. Jussie Smollett, from Hollywood hero to public enemy. Jussie Smollett's fall from grace was as swift as it was shocking. In January 2019, the Empire star claimed he was the victim of a brutal hate crime on a cold Chicago night. According to Jussie, two masked men attacked him around 2 a.m., punching him in the face, kicking him in the back, dousing him with an unknown chemical, and even wrapping a rope around his neck before fleeing into the darkness. The story sent shockwaves through Hollywood and across the nation. Outrage, sympathy, and support poured in. But what began as a tale of tragedy would soon unravel into one of the most infamous scandals in modern pop culture. As police dug deeper, cracks began to show. Jussie refused to hand over his phone, raising suspicion. When he finally did, much of the data had been redacted. Then came the bombshell. Surveillance footage led investigators to two brothers who claimed Smollett had paid them to stage the attack. The shocking twist flipped the entire narrative on its head. Suddenly, the alleged victim became the accused mastermind. In February 2019, Smollett was arrested and charged with filing a false police report, a felony. The world watched in disbelief as his mugshot replaced his red carpet photos. But the drama didn't end there. In 2020, new charges of lying to law enforcement surfaced, and by December 2021, Jussie was found guilty on 5 of 6 counts of disorderly conduct. The judge's words were cutting. He took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career. Smollett was sentenced to 150 days in jail and fined nearly $150,000. Yet, even as the verdict was read, he stood defiant, repeating, "I am not suicidal," as he was led away in handcuffs. He served several months before being released early in 2022 after an appeals court intervened. Since then, Jussie has tried to rebuild what remains of his image, releasing a song titled, "You Got the Wrong One," and teaming up with producer Mona Scott-Young for a film called B-Boy Blues. But Hollywood's memory is long, and forgiveness comes slow. Whether Jussie Smollett can ever reclaim his former glory remains uncertain. Stay tuned until the end, because what happens next will leave you speechless. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. You won't want to miss the next shocking Hollywood downfall. Felicity Huffman, from Hollywood glamour to handcuffs. In March 2019, Felicity Huffman, once celebrated for her role in Desperate Housewives, found herself at the center of a nationwide scandal that rocked the entertainment world. The actress was arrested after being caught trying to pay a $50,000 bribe to an exam proctor to inflate her daughter's college entrance scores. Her name became one of the most recognizable in Operation Varsity Blues, the massive federal investigation that exposed widespread bribery and fraud in college admissions. Charged with conspiracy and mail fraud, Felicity quickly admitted guilt, hoping for leniency. She posted a $250,000 bail, but there was no escaping the public humiliation that followed. By May 2019, she officially pleaded guilty, and in September that year, the verdict came down: 14 days in jail, a $30,000 fine, and 250 hours of community service. Felicity served her short sentence and was released in October 2019, closing a painful chapter in her life. Her one-year supervised release is now complete, and while Hollywood has been slow to open its doors again, she remains one of the few who might actually rebuild her image. Unlike others whose scandals turned criminal and career-ending, Felicity Huffman's story may still find redemption, if the industry ever forgives. Shelly Mallow, from Hollywood charm to horror headlines. In August 2008, Hollywood actor Shelly Mallow made headlines for all the wrong reasons. The man once known for his wit and charisma in The 40-Year-Old Virgin became the center of a chilling real-life tragedy. In a shocking act of violence, Mallow viciously stabbed his ex-girlfriend, Kendra Beebe, dozens of times in her San Marcos, California home, an attack so brutal it nearly took her life. When police caught up with him the next day at a train station in Oceanside, the public was left reeling. How could a familiar face from comedy screens commit such a horrifying act? 2 years later, in September 2010, Mallow was convicted of attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon. The verdict was clear: he would serve a life sentence, with the possibility of parole after 12 years. But in a twist that shocked many, Shelley Mallow walked free in 2018, released years ahead of schedule. Today, he keeps a low profile, reportedly living in a halfway house and attending Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, claiming he's on a path to rehabilitation. Once a rising actor, Mallow's name now stands as a chilling reminder that fame can vanish in a heartbeat, and redemption doesn't always erase the scars left behind. Robert Hughes, from beloved star to convicted predator. For decades, Robert Hughes enjoyed fame and respect as one of television's familiar faces. But in August 2012, his entire world collapsed. The actor was arrested on horrifying charges, accused of indecent acts with a minor. Soon, multiple witnesses stepped forward, claiming he had a long history of disturbing behavior on the sets of popular TV shows throughout the 1980s and 1990s. After being extradited to Australia, Hughes faced a highly publicized trial that exposed dark secrets long buried beneath his fame. In April 2014, the jury found him guilty on 2 counts of sexual assault and 7 counts of indecent assault. While some charges were dropped due to lack of unanimous verdicts, the rest were enough to seal his fate. The once celebrated actor was sentenced to more than 10 years behind bars, with a minimum of 6 before parole eligibility. When his first parole request came in March 2020, it was swiftly denied. Public outrage still burned too strong. But 2 years later, in June 2022, Hughes finally walked free. Despite his release, redemption remains out of reach. He lives in self-imposed exile in the UK, avoiding the cameras, the headlines, and the public that once adored him. The silence surrounding his name speaks louder than any words, proof that some legacies can never be restored. Cameron Douglas's story reads like a Hollywood tragedy that somehow found redemption in its final act. In July 2009, the son of legendary actor Michael Douglas was arrested with half a pound of amphetamines, a charge that carried a 10-year prison sentence. But things spiraled even further when his girlfriend was caught smuggling drugs to him while he was under house arrest. That reckless move earned Cameron another 5 years behind bars. Prison was no movie set. He was beaten by other inmates, one attack left his leg broken, and his ongoing battle with addiction led to more trouble after he failed a drug test in 2013. Despite multiple appeals to reduce his sentence, every court turned him down. Then, in August 2016, after 7 long years, Cameron finally walked free. Determined to rewrite his life script, he returned to acting with roles in The Runner and Wire Room. Today, he insists he's a changed man, sober, focused, and grateful for a second chance. Judging by how far he's come, it seems this time, Cameron Douglas is getting his story right. O.J. Simpson, a name that still echoes through American history. Everyone remembers the jaw-dropping 1994 murder case that turned the former football legend into one of the most controversial figures of our time. But few know where O.J. is today, and how his wild journey toward freedom unfolded after the trial of the century. After being acquitted of murdering his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ron Goldman, O.J. became the target of multiple civil lawsuits. In 1997, Nicole's family won a $33.5 million judgment against him for wrongful death. But O.J. refused to pay. Instead, he packed his bags and moved to Miami in 2000, hoping to escape the financial fallout. As more lawsuits and unpaid debts stacked up, O.J. began selling off his trophies and memorabilia to stay afloat. Desperate and cornered, he came up with a shocking idea. A book titled If I Did It, describing in chilling hypotheticals how the murders might have happened. Protected by double jeopardy laws, O.J. couldn't be tried again, and the book sold thousands of copies. But karma wasn't done with him yet. In 2007, O.J. was arrested in Las Vegas after leading a group of men to rob a hotel room filled with sports memorabilia, items he claimed were rightfully his. the jury didn't buy it. In 2008, he was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to 33 years in prison, with a chance of parole after 9 years later, in October 2017, O.J. walked out of prison a free man. By December 2021, his parole was officially lifted. Today, O.J. Simpson lives quietly, spending his days on the golf course and voicing his opinions on sports and politics through social media. Once the face of American fame and infamy, O.J. remains a living reminder that some legacies never truly escape their shadows. Lilo Brancado's Hollywood story reads like a cautionary tale of fame, addiction, and redemption. Once known for his breakout role in A Bronx Tale, his life took a dark turn in December 2005 when a botched robbery ended with an off-duty police officer dead. What was supposed to be a quick score became the night that shattered everything. Facing second-degree murder charges, Brancado seemed destined for a life behind bars. But in a shocking twist during his 2008 trial, the jury found him not guilty of murder, a verdict that stunned both the public and the press. Still, justice was not entirely on his side. He was convicted of first-degree attempted burglary, a charge that landed him a 10-year prison sentence in 2009. Behind the cold walls of Rikers Island, Brancado's battles deepened. He wrestled with drug addiction, even suffering a near-fatal overdose while incarcerated. Yet, through the chaos, something shifted. He slowly began to rebuild, not just his body, but his spirit. By December 2013, after years of reflection and recovery, Brancado was granted parole. He walked out of prison determined to rewrite his story. As of 2022, he proudly claims 15 years of sobriety and has returned to acting with roles in The Phone Call and Made in Mexico. His journey from stardom to rock bottom, and back again, stands as a raw reminder that redemption is never out of reach, even after your worst fall. Bill Cosby, from America's dad to public enemy. For decades, Bill Cosby was America's dad, the warm, wise father figure who made millions laugh and believe in family values. But behind that wholesome image hid a darkness that would one day shatter his legacy. Long before the world turned on him, whispers followed Cosby, rumors of sexual misconduct and predatory behavior dating back to the 1960s. Yet Hollywood stayed silent. It wasn't until the 2000s that several women came forward, claiming Cosby had drugged their drinks and violated them while they were unconscious. Their stories were hauntingly similar, but few had the evidence to fight him in court. Silence, settlements, and intimidation kept the truth buried, until one night, everything changed. In 2014, comedian Hannibal Buress cracked a joke on stage, calling Cosby a rapist and urging the audience to Google it. That single moment ignited a firestorm. The public searched, the media exploded, and dozens of women came forward with chillingly consistent stories. America's favorite father was now its most reviled predator. Cosby was finally charged and in 2018, found guilty on 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault. The verdict sent shockwaves through Hollywood. In September, he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison, a stunning downfall for a man once celebrated as a cultural icon. But the story didn't end there. In 2021, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned his conviction, ruling that prosecutors had violated his constitutional rights by using testimony that was supposed to be immune. Overnight, Bill Cosby walked free, smiling for cameras as if nothing had happened. His freedom didn't last long. In 2022, yet another woman accused him of sexual assault, pulling him back into the courtroom spotlight he desperately wanted to escape. Now, as the years fade and his health declines, Cosby lives a quiet, isolated life in his Massachusetts home, shielded by his wife Camille, who clings to what little remains of his once golden reputation. Once the beloved patriarch of American television, Bill Cosby has become a symbol of how power, secrecy, and privilege can twist even the most trusted faces into shadows of disgrace. Lori Loughlin's fall from grace was one of Hollywood's most shocking scandals. In March 2019, the beloved Full House star was arrested in connection with a massive college admissions bribery scheme that rocked the nation. Prosecutors accused her of conspiring to commit mail and wire fraud after she allegedly paid hefty bribes to manipulate college entrance exams, hoping to secure her daughter's spots at elite universities. As the FBI's sweeping investigation unraveled the truth, the perfect image of America's sweetheart began to crumble. By May 2020, Lori pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to commit fraud. The court sentenced her to 2 months in federal prison, a $150,000 fine, and 100 hours of community service. When she was released in December 2020, her public reputation lay in ruins. The fallout didn't stop there. Soon after, Stanford graduates filed a lawsuit claiming her actions had tarnished the university's brand and devalued their degrees. From sitcom fame to national disgrace, Lori Loughlin's story became a chilling reminder that even the brightest stars can lose everything when fame collides with deception. Sanjay Dutt's life reads like a movie script filled with fame, downfall, and redemption. In April 1993, the Bollywood superstar was arrested for illegal possession of firearms connected to the devastating Bombay bombings. Though he was cleared of any involvement in the attacks themselves, his possession of several weapons still landed him in deep legal trouble. In July 2007, the court sentenced him to 6 years in prison. Sanjay appealed, hoping for leniency, but his pleas were rejected in March 2013. Still, the court slightly reduced his sentence from 6 years to 5. Between 2007 and 2013, Dutt's life became a revolving door of arrests, bail, and appeals, a cycle that tested his spirit and the patience of his fans. When his final appeal failed in 2013, he surrendered to authorities and began serving the rest of his sentence. Behind bars, the once larger-than-life actor confronted his past and sought inner peace. By February 2016, after completing his sentence, Sanjay walked out a free man, older, wiser, and determined to rebuild. And rebuild he did. With comeback roles in films like Shamshira and KGF, Chapter 2, Sanjay Dutt proved that even after years of turmoil, a true star can rise again, scarred, but unbroken. Hengame Ghaziani, the actress who dared to defy the regime. Hengame Ghaziani's arrest and release happened within a single month, but what she did in that time shook an entire nation. In November 2022, the Iranian actress and translator found herself at the center of a firestorm after she took a brave stand against her country's strict hijab laws. In Iran, women are legally required to wear the hijab, a traditional religious covering, but Hengame refused to stay silent after witnessing one woman's brutal death at the hands of morality police for wearing it improperly. As outrage swept across the country, Ghaziani joined countless others who spoke out, using her platform to condemn the government's oppression. Her defiance reached its peak when she removed her headscarf on social media, a symbolic act of rebellion that would cost her dearly. Soon after, authorities stormed in and arrested her. In her final post before being taken into custody, she wrote, "I am with the Iranian people until my last breath." After spending several days behind bars, Hengame was released on bail in late November. But her freedom came with uncertainty. Today, she remains one of the most outspoken critics of the Iranian regime, a woman who risked everything for truth, dignity, and the right to choose her own voice. Amy Locane once lit up the big screen with her charm and promise, but her real-life story would play out like a tragic movie with no happy ending. In June 2010, her name exploded across national headlines after a fatal car crash in New Jersey turned her world upside down. Court documents revealed that Amy had been driving more than 50 miles per hour in a 35 zone when another driver, Fred Seaman, made a left turn in front of her. The impact was devastating. Fred survived, but his wife, Helen, lost her life in the collision. When police arrived, they discovered Amy's blood alcohol level was nearly 3 times the legal limit. What followed was a public downfall few could imagine. She was convicted of aggravated manslaughter and assault by automobile, sentenced to 3 years in prison in 2013, and released early in 2015, thanks to her legal team's plea about the welfare of her young children. But tragedy has a cruel way of circling back. Shortly after her release, Amy's husband divorced her and took full custody of their kids. Public outrage grew, calling her lenient sentence a miscarriage of justice. And in 2016, an appeals court agreed, ordering her case to be reviewed again. By 2019, her nightmare deepened, 5 more years were added to her sentence. She fought back, appealing while out on bail, but the final blow came in 2020 when the New Jersey Supreme Court ruled that her original punishment was far too light. Amy was resentenced to 8 years in prison, required to serve at least 6 before even being eligible for parole. Once a rising Hollywood starlet, Amy Locane became one of the only people in America to be sentenced twice for the same crime, a haunting reminder that second chances don't always lead to redemption. For these 12 actors, freedom came at a heavy price, careers destroyed, reputations shattered, and lives forever scarred. Some fight to rebuild what they've lost, others vanish into silence, haunted by their own choices. But one truth remains: Hollywood never forgets. And in its unforgiving spotlight, redemption always comes at a cost. Fire if this story shocked you, don't leave just yet. Hit that like button, subscribe to Exposed Hollywood, and turn on the bell icon for more deep dives into the hidden truths behind the stars. Because in Hollywood, every comeback has a price.